This movie will completely change the way you see reality. Maybe the world we live in is nothing more than digital code running in the background. And the strange events in this movie seem to bring that wild idea to life, one piece at a time. This is the sci-fi mystery movie, The Mandela Effect. Brendan is a video game designer. He spends his days writing rules and fixing bugs. He and his wife, Claire, have a young daughter named Sam. The three of them live a happy life until a family trip to the beach. Sam is playing in the sand with her favorite Curious George doll, while Brendan and Claire relax nearby. Then, a wave washes the doll away. When Sam realizes her parents aren't watching, she runs into the water to get it. By the time Brendan notices something is wrong, the ocean has already pulled her under. She never comes back. After losing their daughter, Brendan and Claire both blame themselves for not keeping a closer eye on her. Claire wants to pack away Sam's belongings, but Brendan can't even bring himself to touch her room. It's as if leaving everything exactly the way it was will somehow keep Sam with them. While going through her things, Brendan notices something strange about one of her children's books. He clearly remembers the family name in the title being spelled with an E, but the book in front of him spells it with an A. Just as he's about to write it off as a bad memory, Claire's brother Matt says he remembers the E too. They look it up online and discover that tons of people remember the exact same spelling. Yet every old book, image, and publication record says the word has always been spelled with an A. Brendan wants to know why so many people remember the same wrong version, so he keeps digging. That's when he finds countless other examples. Some people swear Nelson Mandela died in prison back in the 1980s. Some even remember watching his funeral on TV. But in reality, Mandela didn't die until 2013. When a large group of people share the same false memory, it's called the Mandela Effect. Some say our brains simply put memories together the wrong way. Others believe parallel universes may have overlapped, leaving some people with memories from a different reality. Brendan still isn't completely convinced until he notices a family photo on the refrigerator. He clearly remembers taking it at the Pacific Science Center in Seattle, but the background now shows the Griffith Observatory in Los Angeles. Even stranger, Claire insists they visited the observatory that day. Brendan searches through every old photo album he can find, but there isn't a single picture from the Science Center. Every piece of evidence says his memory is wrong. Then Brendan and Claire notice something even more painful. They both remember Sam's Curious George doll having a tail, but the doll in front of them doesn't have one. In fact, Curious George has never had a tail in the original stories. One letter could be explained as a bad memory. But what about the photograph and the doll? And why do all these changes seem connected to Sam? Brendan starts to believe that maybe his daughter didn't disappear from every version of reality. Claire thinks her husband is clinging to internet theories because he can't accept Sam's death. Matt also tells him to let it go, but Brendan refuses to listen. Instead of arguing with his family, he searches for someone who might be able to explain what's happening. Before long, he finds a researcher named Dr. Fuchs. Fuchs has spent years exploring a radical theory. The universe we live in may not be real at all. It could be one massive simulation. Brendan tracks him down. But Fuchs doesn't want to feed his obsession. He warns Brendan not to bury his very real grief inside a theory that can't be proven. But Brendan has been coding since he was a kid, and he spent years designing video games. So he asks Fuchs a simple question. If this world really is a program, could someone mess with it from the inside, just like they would with a video game? And if that's possible, could Brendan somehow bring Sam back? Fuchs can't promise him anything. Instead, he explains the theory in simple terms. If a simulated world wanted to save processing power, it wouldn't need to generate everything at once. It would work like a video game map. The world would only load wherever the player went. If no one could see or sense a place, the system might not need to render it at all. That would mean its processing power has limits. And if someone created a program that kept copying itself and eating up resources, it might push the system hard enough to reveal a glitch. Fuchs takes Brendan to a university lab. Inside is an incredibly powerful quantum computer, and it may be their only chance to put the theory to the test. Just as they're about to continue their research, a lab employee walks in. Brendan isn't allowed to be there, so he has to leave. Before he goes, Fuchs warns him that if they really interfere with the system, there's no telling what could happen to reality. Back home, Brendan starts writing a program based on their theory. As he works, he catches brief glimpses of Sam around the house. Sometimes, he even hears her calling out to him. But every time he follows her voice, he finds nothing but an empty room. He can't tell whether grief is making him see things or reality itself is starting to crack. Then, something impossible happens. The next morning, before Brendan has even put his plan into action, he finds Sam sitting at the breakfast table. He can't believe his eyes. He cautiously asks Claire if she can see their daughter too, but Claire has no idea why he would ask such a strange question. As far as she remembers, Sam has always been alive. The accident at the beach never happened. Brendan holds his daughter tight, desperate to make up for every moment they lost. He even wonders if the system somehow discovered his plan and brought Sam back to make him stop. But their happiness doesn't last. Claire starts acting strangely. She wakes up in the middle of the night, forgets things she's done, and suddenly lashes out at her family for no reason. Sometimes, she stares at Sam as if she's looking at someone who shouldn't exist. Brendan thought everything would go back to normal once Sam returned, but Claire only gets worse. Her mind remembers a life where Sam never died, yet somewhere deep inside, she still seems to carry the pain of losing her. Those two completely different realities are tearing her apart. Brendan goes back to Fuchs for help, but the doctor's wife answers the door. She tells him that Fuchs died 2 months ago. Brendan is stunned. He spoke to the doctor face to face just days earlier. They even looked at the quantum computer together. Now everyone is telling him that meeting could never have happened. That's when Brendan realizes the system may have known about their plan all along. Maybe it brought Sam back to make him stop. Then it rewrote Fuchs as someone who died 2 months earlier, cutting Brendan off from the only person helping him. If that's true, Sam's return may not be a miracle. It could be a warning. And if the system can erase Fuchs, who will it change next? Brendan? Claire? Sam? To stop reality from changing any further, Brendan decides to finish the program and upload it to the quantum computer. His goal is to overwhelm the entire system and force it to restart. Before leaving, Brendan records a video. He has no idea what will happen after the reboot. He just wants his family to understand that he isn't trying to destroy the world. He's trying to save his daughter and fix a reality that has already fallen apart. Brendan sneaks into the university, but a lab employee quickly spots him. The man tries to call security, and the two of them struggle over the phone. In the chaos, the employee falls and slams the back of his head against the floor. He stops moving. There's no turning back now. Brendan takes the man's access card, rushes into the lab, and uploads the program to the quantum computer. Then he hits the start button. The program can't repair one specific chain of events. All it can do is keep consuming more and more processing power until the simulated world can no longer handle it. Will the system repair itself? Will it completely reboot? Or will everyone simply disappear along with it? Brendan has no idea. The moment the program starts running, the outside world begins to fall apart. Passengers on a bus suddenly merge with their seats. A couple's faces fuse together. Cars vanish from the street, and day turns to night over and over within seconds. Brendan races home, but the house itself has become scrambled. He runs through one door, only to come out exactly where he started. The walls, lights, and furniture keep flickering in and out, while Claire's face twists into a blur of broken colors. 2 moons appear in the sky. They drift closer and closer until they finally crash into each other. Brendan reaches Claire and Sam, and the 3 of them hold each other tight as everything around them is swallowed by darkness. Then the entire universe starts over. The stars reappear. Earth forms again. Life and civilization rapidly load back into existence. Billions of years race by like footage playing in fast forward until everything returns to that day at the beach. Sam is about to carry her Curious George doll toward the water. This time, the doll doesn't have a tail. Brendan suddenly calls out and tells her to leave it where it is. The wave never carries the doll away, so Sam never runs into the ocean after it. The tragedy never happens. Brendan goes to unimaginable lengths to control fate. But in the end, all it takes to save his daughter is one warning at the right moment. Maybe the movie's real question isn't whether our world is real. Maybe it's reminding us that the losses we can never undo often happen in the few seconds when we aren't paying attention. If reality could be rewritten, but the price might be the entire world, would you still push that button?